Hello, world. Welcome to episode 177 of the Jimmy Canz Show. Spin the wheel, make the deal. It is a classic retrospective. It is WCW Halloween Havoc 1992. Let's talk about this one. And oof, it's a rough one. So, all right. Obviously, it was a WCW event held on October 25th, 1992, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, at the Philadelphia Civic Center, live on pay per view, later released on VHS, courtesy of Turner Home Entertainment. Six-man action to start the show. The team of Johnny Gunn, Shane Douglas, and the Z-Man took on the veteran combination of Beautiful Bobby Eaton, the Enforcer, Double A Arn Anderson, and Michael P.S. Hayes. 11 minutes here, with the baby faces getting a W here, and with a very low impact fest press by Gunn on Hayes. The baby faces were getting booed out of the building throughout this one. Not sure exactly what the mindset behind this booking was. My only guess is Bill Watts was trying to get over some younger talent. Not bad thinking, just bad execution, I guess. I think you should have done more to build up this trio of baby faces prior to the event so that the crowd might have been a little more invested in them. But like when you got, the three veterans, the caliber of Eaton, Anderson, and Hayes together, especially, in that day and age, it was pretty obvious which direction the fans were going to go in terms of support. So, yeah. Uh, After this, we get Ricky the Dragon Steamboat taking on Flying Brian Pillman. Steamboat no longer the TV champion, having dropped the title to Scott Steiner in a bout that aired on delay earlier in October. I think it was actually recorded late September and then aired sometime in October, if memory serves. It was about 10 and a half minute match. Steamboat getting the W here. Um, you know, Great match. Both these guys could go, so no surprise there. Our next contest was kind of a unusual one. It was a U.S. title bout, but actually, Ravishing Rick Rude was the United States champion at this time. The story was that he complained about having to compete twice, as he, is scheduled for a match later in the show for the NWA World Title against Masahiro Chono. So then the decision was made that Rude could select a surrogate to defend the U.S. title on his behalf, and he picked Vader. Um, with Harley Race in his corner. Vader would go on and defeat the Russian Nightmare, Nikita Koloff, in about 11 and a half minutes. But it's kind of an unusual one here, especially when you. We'll get into it down the road in another retro. I'll explain to you some of my frustration with this one at that point in time. But uh, for right now, let's just move on. Um, we get a unified tag team championship defense as the Natural Dustin Rhodes and Barry Windham defend against Dr. Death Steve Williams and Stunning Steve Austin. This is another unusual one. This was originally scheduled to be Williams and Gordy against the Steiners. Rick was injured, and that led WCW to make a decision to have Rhodes and Windham win um, the titles earlier in October. Austin has been plugged into here, subbing for Gordy, who no-showed the event. So a lot of moving parts in this one leading into it. Obviously, the champions retain here over a makeshift team. It would have made a whole heck of a lot of sense to have a substituting Austin teaming with Williams take the titles. So you kind of see which way this one was going to go from a mile away, but there you have it. Next up, the aforementioned NWA World Heavyweight title matchup as Ravishing Rick Rude with Medusa in his corner, taking on Masahiro Chono, who had the legendary Hiro Matsuda in his corner. Two special referees in this one as well. Harley Race served as the in-ring official, and New Japan's Kensuke Sasaki was kind of the outside enforcer. This one ended in a DQ win for Rude when Race DQ'd Chono for throwing Rude over the top rope. So Chono is still your champion, but Rude won the match. Yeah, this was a cluster, which is sad because it could have been so good, but it was what it was. Next, the fourth consecutive title match of the show, we get the WCW World title on the line as Ron Simmons defends against the Barbarian with Cactus Jack in his corner. Simmons getting the win here with a power slam in about 12:40-ish. Unfortunately, this angle is going to keep going, even though it just isn't getting over. This Cactus Jack having it in for Ron Simmons story arc. I never liked it. I just don't think it hit. But hey, is what it is, and was what it was. So, and then last but not least, well, very least to be honest, get the spin the wheel, make the deal match between Sting and Jake the Snake Roberts. The wheel lands on the coal miner glove. This is a difficult one to watch. Jake, not his normal in-ring self. um, the snake bite spot at the end was just really poorly done. Was obvious he's holding the snake in place. It just looked really bad. They did nothing to kind of hide how bad it was with any camera angles or camera tricks. They're like right there on it, and you can see just how often bad it was. Um, to this day, I don't know if the wheel was gimmicked um, to land on that, or if they just let it really go and whatever it landed on, it landed on. But I mean, it's just honestly, it was pretty much it for Jake in WCW too. As he's going to be gone from WCW by the end of the year. He was not in a good place in his life. The whole situation going to WCW changed. He was promised a very lucrative contract, and then Bill Watts took over, and Watts had no love loss for Jake at all, and gave him a fraction of what he was originally promised. So Jake really wasn't in it in terms of his attitude. He was still dealing with all of his personal demons as well in full force at this point in his life. So yeah, this was just not a good run for Jake, and this was not a good match at all. So, um, I just don't get the booking in a lot of this. Match quality, for the most part, was good, but again, you had bad booking story, um, and a lot of substitutions and makeshift stuff going on. Surrogate champion, substitute tag partners. Like I said, a lot of audibles here. Um, on that one though, they just had to pull it together in certain situations, between injuries and no shows and stuff like that. I guess they did a pretty decent job, but the overall quality of the show, I think, was affected as a result of it because you didn't have any real stories in a lot of these matches uh with the substitutes. So yeah. So in terms of Hall of Fame involvement, pretty robust show. I think 15 Hall of Famers in this one. Race, Watts making an appearance, Steamboat, Austin, Anderson, Wyndham, Simmons, Foley, Jake, Medusa, Sting, Michael Hayes, Dr. Death, Vader, Rick Rude, um, and bumps it up to 18 if we count, interviewers and commentary, because you also had Bruno Sammartino uh involved in the show, Jesse the Body Ventura, Jim Ross. So yeah, a pretty robust show in terms of Hall of Fame talent. Just sad that the quality of the show didn't reflect that. Um, so my 10 belt scale, this one, it gets a bump again for match quality, but a big ding for poor booking and story work. Uh, and that main event ending gives it a major hit again because it was not well executed at all. Knowing what you're going for and then missing the mark. Ugh. So on a 10 belt scale, I'm only gonna give this one a 3. Really wasn't a good show. The negatives far outweighed the positives. Some decent ring work. So, like I said, there you have it. Our next classic retrospective will be on a Clash of the Champions. Be what is this? Clash 21, I do believe. So we'll have that one coming at you in a little bit. So give the channel a like, a share, subscribe wherever you are. Hope you're doing well. Take care of one another, and I will see y'all when I see you.